Hello and welcome. I am Scrapper Lock. This is City of Heroes. We are with Dark Phantom doing our soloing Stalker playthrough. We're on +1 missions and we've done one mission for Lannister, which I actually had to abort because it was finding 7 hostages and one of them I couldn't find. When I aborted it, um, he gave me the new story arc, which is Ubelman. The other thing I do want to point out, I don't know how I've missed it. This is where the set difficulty is. I don't know how I didn't see it. I'm used to there being buttons down here that I mostly ignore, and I don't know how I didn't see it down there. I'm sure some people were raging at me in the comments and probably were like, we told you in earlier comments, why didn't you see it yet? Because I haven't posted a bunch of the videos yet. The New Year one just went up today. It's the 31st, and I think I'm like level 12 or something in that one. So, or 14, whatever. So it's been a while from the time I've made this to the time you've seen it, and that's because I'm still on vacation from work. I go back on Monday. Today's Wednesday, so I can play a lot now. I've started playing some war games. I played Lock and Load, and I've started playing Panzer Corps 2, and I still have SGS to play. So I may not be doing quite as much recording while I play those other games, um, but yeah, it's hard to resist the lure of City of Heroes. Um, we're going this way. So we're going to Talos Island, and we're going to defeat all soldiers and the boss, and this is the beginning of the Ubelman story arc. This is a very weird story arc because Ubelman is obviously a German um, term, right? And yet, unless they've changed it again, for most of the run of this game, the enemies were Council. Council are based on fascist Italy rather than the Fifth Column, which are based on Germany. So when the game first came out, there was no Council, it was just the Fifth Column. And the Fifth Column were basically modern day Nazis. And the reason they had them in the game, I assume, we all did, is that it's pretty classic for superheroes to fight Nazis, right? And I even made up an American super patriot character, Liberty Lass, and my favorite thing to do was have her fight the Fifth Column. And often when my super team was going up against the Fifth Column, what is this? We don't need that. I would log out of my Scrapper and log into Liberty Lass. So my Scrapper only fought the Fifth Column uh, in her missions. Now this looks like it's Fifth Column again. So what happened is the Fifth Column were the enemies for some time, and then after a period of time, and coincidental with the this game going live in Europe, particularly Germany, they switched it from the Fifth Column to the Council. They even had an in-game storyline where for some time, and you can still see this in parts of the game in certain spawn points, wherever the Fifth Column spawn points were, they had Council spawn points coming up and them shooting and fighting at each other. And the idea was that the Council kind of came in and replaced the Fifth Column. So the descendants of fascist Italy, the red shirts and stuff, brown shirts, and Mussolini replaced the descendants of Hitler and the Nazis. And the assumption made, and I don't know how much evidence there is whether this is true or not, the assumption made by the players at the time was that this was a change the developers were making to be more palatable to German users. Because there are actually laws in Germany about not depicting those guys. And so the Council then completely replaced the Fifth Column. There were no Fifth Column in these missions. But Ubelman was still up as a storyline. So you had this guy with a German name who was supposedly an Italian fascist, which is kind of weird. It seems like since that time, at some point, I don't know if they did it during live, I don't think so, because I feel like I've done this on Rebirth and it was Council. So I feel like Homecoming maybe went in and just re-tagged these guys to be fifth column faction instead of Council, because it doesn't make sense to have the Council as part of the Uberman arc. Although exactly how this works with Requiem and some of the other stuff in the later arcs, I don't know. Right, because they all kind of work together. Vampiri, Requiem, etc. Even General Z, I think. Well, General Z was against the Sky Raiders, but the Vampiri, Requiem, and this all kind of work together to make a single story arc, a single like larger storyline. And if it's all Council or if it's all fifth column, it kind of makes sense. I don't know how much sense it would make if it's some of one and some of the other. So we have 3 archivists to save, and we need to investigate the raid. And yeah, the mission that I did where I had to save 7 people was an outdoor mission. One of these giant outdoor city maps. I'm sitting there doing it going, you know, they should have done something different with these, because that map is this huge giant map, and I found 5 of the 7 all along this section. And then all the rest of it, I only found 1 other person. Like, why would you have this huge open area that's got nobody? Right? It just seems like it's a waste of time. And by clumping them all in one spot, you're inviting the player to have to crawl all over the city looking for stuff, not seeing it because it's all clumped in one place. But having played that mission before, I know where the spawn points are, and I was able to... oh, there's a lieutenant. I didn't notice it. I was able to find everybody but 1, but the last one, I went all over that map, couldn't find them. So I came out, tried to complete the mission, it wouldn't let me. A lot of times early on with your contact, you cannot autocomplete. At least that's been my experience, unless I'm missing something. You don't have his phone number yet. When you call him, when you click on him in person, it only gave me the option of the store or close the window or something like that. It did not give me the option to cancel the mission or auto-complete it. So I said, okay, well, I'll just log out. That aborts, that does the mission. It was a time mission. I'll just log out for an hour and a half, and when I come back in, it'll say I failed the mission, and I can just give it back, right? I can abandon it. But when I logged in, it didn't say anything about that mission. I didn't have any missions left on the board, and when I went to talk to him, he gave me this one. So now we're fighting 5th column, and eventually we're going to find out about Uberman. Did somebody come around this corner? Yeah, thought so. That thing that he just did there, that's crippling axe kick. I hate that animation, so I never take it on my martial arts characters. Apparently it does a pretty decent amount of damage. But I also never feel like I need it on my martial arts characters either. Sort of like this character. I mean, do I need Midnight Grasp? Probably not. I will take it at some point. But we do so much damage with this thing, right, that I don't know that we need Midnight Grasp. And again, right now we're so starved for enhancement slots that I don't think it makes sense to take it. Right, 29th level. Oh, there's an endurance reducer. Very nice. I mean, I guess we can boost this. At 29th level, I think I was, what did I say? I was going to do double recharges in there. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should put a couple damages in here, because we haven't really needed this auto heal, this self heal yet. And we do have Siphon Life. So maybe it's not a priority. Maybe I should prioritize doing a little more damage. Okay, so here's our first victim. Wow, missing 3 times in a row. I rolled a 90, an 86, and a 52. No, I rolled a 90, a 95, and an 86. This is what I mean. I feel like if you took the long-term average of all of my attack rolls, it would be statistically significantly above the expected value of 50-50, right? I think the average of my attack rolls has got to be around a 65. Maybe I'm wrong. I wish there was a way to just extract it, to just run like 10 missions or so and extract the data and collate it. But I'm not going to go through and manually do it. It's too much of a pain. With Siphon Life, I don't know how much we're even going to use Energize. And we may not need to carry very many blue and green pills anymore. It might be we're going to do 2 blues and a green or something in one column. And then when we have 4, 2 and 2, and we can add additional Lux. I always like to have Lux to make them whiff. I used to do that with my SR Super Reflex Scrapper as well. Because we have defense, a couple Lux stacked together can make you nigh unhittable, which is quite nice. The other thing to think about with enhancement slots is we need to get that build up. We need to get that build up on faster recharge too, and that will also increase our damage, perhaps more than increasing our enhancement slots for damage on the powers. So I don't know. There are so many enhancement slots that we need right now. We are so slot poor. Part of the problem with a defense set like this that's so good that you need a lot of slots on is you can't ignore. Like, there's, other than this and this, there are no powers in this set that we can, in either set, that we can ignore. All of them need, now Placate and Build Up just need recharge on them, but all of these pretty much need to be 4, 5, or 6 slotted. And so that actually makes it challenging, right? Because you don't have that many slots, especially early on. As I've said, I wish at level 49 you could forgo the final power and just say, forget it, I don't want this power. Instead, give me more slots. And on Rebirth, we would not be struggling in this much for slots because we'd have 4 more. Because on the Rebirth server, these slots are automatically given to you. So we could have Smite and Shadow Maul each with 2 damage enhancers on them already. But it's not how it works here, so. And it wasn't how it worked in the original game, of course, either. See, in the original game, you had to waste a power slot on Swift. So that meant that... Where's the last archivist? You had to waste a slot on Swift, and so that meant that, well, that's a power that doesn't need to be enhanced, right? Are we going to do this again where the last prisoner doesn't spawn? Okay, they're not on this level. Did I miss something here? I don't think so. Let's turn hide off so that in case I walk by something and don't see it, it will aggro to me. But I feel like we've been everywhere, have we not? There's nobody in here. Let's come down this way. Maybe I missed somebody down here. Oh, I bet I know where they are. I didn't go upstairs, did I? Yeah. I just walked right past this. Noob error. This is a known place for hostages on this level. Sometimes they're back there in one of these rooms, that room, or that room over there, but there's always, almost always somebody on this level. Oh, come on with the missing. And that is mission complete. I think we can call Lannister now. Yep. No, we can't call him yet. Alright, so let's go talk to him. Go to Independence Port. Boop. Oh, I need to go to Striga Island and get all the badges there because that's locked too. I didn't do the content. I don't generally like the missions on Striga Island as much. They're not bad, but I feel like I like these story arcs better, the old ones, so I just tend to gravitate toward those. New contact? Okay, Christine, excellent, because Christine Lansdale does General Z, and I like Christine. She's cool. But let's continue with Ubelman. So we're going to do Ubelman, and then we can talk to Christine and get General Z done. That's not going to happen, obviously, this episode, because Ubelman's a fairly long story arc with many parts. So now we have to save the kidnapped World War II historians in Booptown. So since I already burned my auto teleport and it takes 10 minutes to recharge, we'll just go to the base and go to Boomtown. I've gotten all the badges for this place. You can see I went everywhere. There aren't any Explorer badges over here, I guess, because I didn't go over there and I got all the badges. So let's select that task. We're still on +1, guys, and we face a lot of +2s, no problem at all. I like this character is among the most effective characters I have. I mean, definitely equal to my Dark Melee Energy Brute. Maybe even a little more so at this level because I hadn't really enhanced the power that this replaces, where that you like, it's not Siphon Life, it's like Dark Consumption or something, where you suck out the 2-hit ability of your foes and it increases yours and like decreases their 2-hit or whatever. It's a great power, but it took some enhancing to get it to work right. And at first I complained that it was fairly lackluster. I know it's build-up that replaced. At first I complained that it was fairly lackluster, but after using it for a while, it was pretty good. But I think at this level, I was still had not enhanced it, and I still was complaining that it was a little lackluster. Whereas I don't see anything lackluster about this character. All of her powers are great. I feel like she's doing better than my Energy Melee Brute, who may also have been Energy Ore. I don't remember. Was she Willpower? I can't remember. So I think she's doing better than the Energy Melee Brute, and I think that she's also doing at least as well as my Super Reflex Scrapper. So now, both not Tiger Strike. She's doing better than my Regen Scrapper, I think. Stalker, I think. Because the Regen Stalker was lethal damage, and this is negative, and negative is less commonly resisted. And also, she had Regen, and although Regen is really cool, man, you get hit a lot with Regen. And I feel like at this point, maybe she didn't have instant healing yet, or just gotten it and hadn't enhanced it yet. So that made it very difficult. Now, this is going to be a bit of a hard fight, because we're going to aggro these guys probably at the same time, but that's alright. We shouldn't have any problems with it. I feel like my best character was obviously Silver Phoenix. I feel like this character is about on par. Silver Phoenix had 1 death ignominiously. I don't know if it was on screen. I did a flashback, and I forgot I was doing a flashback and that my toggles weren't on. And like a dummy, I got into too tough of a battle, and I just didn't realize. And I'm just getting my butt absolutely kicked, and like, why am I getting my butt kicked? And I face planted and realized, oh, that's right. I'm reverse sidekick, whatever you want to call it, down to level like 12 or something, and I was I just didn't I didn't realize it. Right? Let's assassinate this guy. Um, that character, Silver Phoenix, went to something like level 32 without a faceplant. In a very similar fashion, this character had a stupid, dumb faceplant around level 10 because I targeted, you guys saw it, right? It's the 6th episode or something called Dumb Mistakes or Sloppy Play, Sloppy Stalker Play. Um, I had a minion targeted. I said I'm not gonna target the minion. I'm gonna target the boss because I don't want to waste the built-up assassin strike on the minion. And then I left the minion targeted and did build-up assassin strike and hit the wrong guy. Then I had to fight the boss without build-up. I didn't have Siphon Life yet. I don't think I'd Shadow Punch yet. So it was just these two powers and Brawl. And yeah, I got my butt kicked because I was stupid. I almost beat him anyway, but I still got him down to like a quarter of his health. But I didn't realize what I had done. Right, I assassin strike I struck the minion, and then something hit me. The boss hit me or whatever. I can't remember what I did, and I was like, oh wait a minute, oh crap, the guy is attacking. Like I struck the wrong guy. Like right. Um, so that was very similar to Silver Phoenix, one sloppy death so far. Since then, we have not face planted. As sloppy as I have been, and you guys have seen it many times, I have managed not to die. Not because of my own good play, but just because I feel like these power sets work well together. And I guess I have them enhanced well enough that they work with my playstyle well enough, and with the stalking ability and everything, and our ability to placate now. It's very hard to catch this character so off guard that she doesn't have any options anymore, right? She can regain her endurance. She can regain her health in two ways, one of which requires a 2-hit roll, but one of which does not. She can placate you, and multiple characters she can placate to make them stop attacking her, and she can put herself back and hide and do a double assassin strike to somebody. And within 10 seconds, you can be assassin stricken twice with placate if there's a single target enemy like a boss. So she's super effective. So let's see. I'm going to see if I can go back and find the first faceplant for Silver Phoenix, but I believe it was around level 32 against the Cray. And even that was kind of dumb, right? That was where I foolishly walked into a spot that had 2 spawns that I know often has 2 spawns in it, didn't think about it, and just walked right up to them and had multiple red lieutenants, or even purple lieutenants, I don't remember, they were at least red, attacking me, and they both, what happened is, they both got a lucky hit on me, right? They had like a 20% chance to hit. They both rolled like in the single digits at exactly the same time, so it was like hit, one, and I had like say this much hit points. One hit took me down here and the other one took me out, and there was no chance to react because they both hit almost simultaneously, and before I could even think about the fact that I needed to take a heal, it was done. And so I don't know, that one was a little stupid but mostly unlucky, and yeah, I feel like that was a legit, yeah, she died to that because I over aggroed. So right now, both of these characters are in the same spot, that they both have one really stupid low-level death. And since then, to level 28 at least, nothing. So let's just see. Of course, now that I said it, I'm going to do something stupid in faceplant. But let's see if this character can match or exceed what I did with Silver Phoenix. Now, of course, I came back and tried to do a Iron Man run with the Silver Phoenix basic build as Iron Phoenix in on Rebirth, and I got to level 17 before faceplanting because I didn't do anything stupid until level 17. We have one more victim. But I feel like this character at level 28 is at least as effective as Silver Phoenix, if not more so. No boss? There's never anybody up here, but yeah, today there is. It's very rare that there's anybody up here. Let's just do that. Bam. Okay, mission complete. There are no bosses here? Usually there's a boss. But I guess not. Alright, out we go. I wanted to fight a boss. With Scrappers, Stalkers, Brutes, I love fighting bosses. Okay, so we just received an anonymous tip that the fifth column is investigating World War II history. Can we stop them? Yes, we're going to try to stop them. We're going to Skyway City this time. Boom. So eventually I will probably collect all the Explorer badges on this character because now you have that teleport. In the past it was just to get the badge, but this teleport makes it super convenient to get from zone to zone. And since it recharges after 10 minutes, and it takes about 10-15 minutes to run an average to large size mission, right? There are small missions that take less, but most missions take 10 or 15 minutes, right? So in an hour play, you can get like maybe 4 missions done if you're not stopping to level up or buy stuff on the auction house or that kind of thing. Since that's true, you can pretty much use this after a given mission to go to the next zone, which is kind of nice. And that is a new Homecoming thing, and not something I believe. They had a teleporter that allowed you to teleport directly to a mission door, which I think came out in live and was, and Silver Phoenix has it. I probably could get that on this character since Silver Phoenix has it, but I don't know that I need to, given that we have this other thing. That one I think was on more like a 20-minute or half-hour recharge, or maybe even an hour. I think it was on a longer recharge, although they may have changed that as well. Or maybe this just replaces it. I don't really know. If anybody does know, feel free to leave it in the comments. Mechman, let's assassinate you. So my rule of thumb on this, since you can one-shot +2 Mechmen, they have quite a bit of smashing and lethal resistance, I think. I think smashing. They definitely have lethal resistance, but I think they have smashing resistance. So if I think it has resistance or know it has resistance to my attacks, my instinct is to use Assassin's Strike on it, because Assassin's Strike will do enough damage that it'll one-shot it anyway, pretty much. So there's several guys here. Take this guy out. Nobody should aggro to me if I do that. So now we're looking for a clue. So he said something. He noticed that his partner died or got knocked out, but he didn't aggro, which is kind of weird. It does happen. It's not unusual behavior. It's just strange that it does it that way. But I guess because I wasn't in his line of sight, he couldn't aggro to me. I have to say, I so greatly love the fifth column. I love fighting them. I like how they have all these really cool German names to their officers and stuff. Ubermenschen, right? Superman. I really like that. It makes it really feel like you're fighting against Nazis, which I like to do. I was waiting to see if he was going to see me, but he did. And I hear a glowy. I keep waiting for these guys to res because I'm so used to fighting freak shows after that last arc, but they don't. These guys can't wake up after they go down. Now the Vampiri, when you get to them, but I don't think they show up until the 30s. The Vampiri they don't res, but some of them can turn into werewolves when you get them down to low enough hit points. Right? They'll get down to like a quarter, like down here, like 10th, 15th of their hit points. If you don't take them out fast enough, and I don't even know if it's possible to do, they will turn into a werewolf. One of the things I might try doing is getting one down to like a third, like before the werewolf point, and then like placate and assassinate and see if you really can take them out without them actually turning into a werewolf automatically. I feel like I tried that, but I don't remember what the result was. So this is defeat everybody. So we have taken out we've picked up the piece of information that they had, but now we have to defeat everybody who's left. So go find the rest of them. I think it should be just this area down here, no? Yeah. These walking guys, the patrols, they make it hard to make sure you've got everybody, because you've been in the area and they weren't there, and then they walk into an area that you've already mapped, and you're like, wait a minute, haven't I been here already? There shouldn't be anybody here, and then there is someone, and it's because he's wandering around. Where is everybody? Shouldn't there be more guys, like, up here? There's somebody. Another wanderer? So as you can see, +1 missions, no problem. +2 enemies in those missions, no problem. The other great thing about these guys is they don't have dull pain. So you don't get them down to a little sliver and have them gain hit points again. What have I missed? Well, sometimes there's a guy in here. Yeah, okay. Not a lot of lieutenants in this mission. Mostly just minions. See, I'm not even remembering to put on build-up, because it's just, we do so much damage even without it, that against minions I don't even think to use it. They also don't have as much resistance, I think, as the freaks either. Ah, now we have to help Jim Thunderhead Bartlett. Okay, so this mission needs to be stalked. Not that we're going to skip a lot of the content, but Jim Thunderhead Bartlett is a bit of a loose cannon. He has storm powers, I think. He's an old retired hero, and he's basically got blaster mentality like Fusionet. So he will attack everybody around. So we need to clear the whole area from him to the door. We will be ambushed, and we're going to have to be really fast doing damage to try and take those guys out, because otherwise they will, hang on, they will try to kill Thunderhead, and they can damage him. What do we got here now? This is defense debuff. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Let's see if the orange one, probably not, but let's see if it is worth anything. Nope. Alright, so we can just sell that. But we'll keep that level 30 endurance recipe, and we'll maybe make that later. I see no reason not to make them as soon as I get them, and then once Because we have so much salvage, and once we get to level 32 or whatever, once these enhancements start to expire, we'll just slot them in. There's a lieutenant. Zoom on in. So let me know how you guys are enjoying this. I assume lots of people watching this would say, I don't build or play that way. Feel free in the comments to describe how you would approach this character. What would you do with a dark melee? Would you have, for example, would you have waited this long to start putting damage on these powers? Would you have just left the defenses bare and cranked the primaries? There are lots of people who do that. Would you have already double recharged build up and placate? Would you have taken Siphon Life earlier? Would you have maybe not bothered with Energy Drain at this point? Would you have not slotted health and stamina? Like, how would you do it? I'm actually genuinely curious. I do know that some of the way I do this is different from other people. So, I'm always curious about, why is this not? What are you talking about? It's not recharging, it's recharged. What's the matter? Are we... I don't know what that was. Come on. So I'm always curious how other people do it. So let me know how you would, right? Would you already be on sets? Which sets would you have? Would you have farmed something to get more reward merits and already have your ATOs slotted in on 2 powers that you've already 6 slotted? Let me know. I'm curious. No judgment, right? I think like everybody can play the game however they want. I have no criticism for how other people play it. I'll just say things like, that's not how I do it, right? That doesn't mean you have to do it that way. It's just not how I do it. Oh, did he? There's a werewolf. I was just talking about them. Let's placate you. Gotcha. So was that a vampire that I hit? I didn't even see it. No. It was just an Übermenschen Unter Flitzier? Oh gosh, I don't even want to try to say that German stuff. Well, that's cool if we're going to fight more werewolves. I love that. Werewolves are worth some pretty nice XP. Yep, I got 1,000 XP twice because we defeated the guy twice. So the question is, there's a vampire. Okay. So now, come on over here. And he's doing dark. So now, what I want to do is get this guy down to... Well, I don't know if this guy can turn into a werewolf. Is the thing. Yep, he's debuffing my 2-hit. So let's buff that up. Build up, placate. Got him. So he did not turn into a werewolf, but I don't know if he would have if I'd gotten him to lower hit points. So part of the problem is the bosses, I think, almost always do, but the lieutenants don't always. So the thing is, if you do take them out in one shot and they don't turn into a werewolf, does that mean they wouldn't have, or does that mean you stopped it? Never really know. Oh boy. +2 boss. Okay, so we've got Thunderhead here. We've cleared the rest of the mission. Up through the doors, right? Because we're just got to go that way. So it's not that far. Is there anybody back here that we need to take care of? There's a lieutenant. I'm not going to, there it is, Warwolf. Okay, I was going to say I'm not going to use build-up. I might have to. We do so much damage with that Assassin Strike, even when it's not an assassination. So these guys are +1, but that boss, that's a +2 boss, that's going to be a little hard. So we're definitely going to need our inspirations for this. And Thunderhead can't help us. Ooh, this is going to be tough, especially if he turns into a Warwolf. We're going to start out with one of each inspiration and see how we do. Fighting purples, guys. Okay, he didn't turn into Warwolf, so that's good. Worth 4,000 XP. So one of the reasons I wanted to hold on to these inspirations is we are going to get pretty heavily ambushed now. Alright, turn off hide, because he needs to follow me. And also, the ambushes ignore hide anyway. Here. And you can see he immediately starts aggroing. And these guys have AoEs, so Thunderhead just keeps getting hit, even if they fire at me. Come on, Jim. Alright, let's try and take these guys out. Turn him around so that Thunderhead is not in the AoE, but he tends to fly up to me anyway. And there's another AoE guy. Pull him away. Yep, and then the knockback. And you see what he's doing? He's just getting right in the middle of it. And so it's almost impossible to keep him safe. Try to do more damage. How's he doing? Oh, he's alright. So the one weakness in this mission with the Stalker is you have no way to generate aggro except damage. And she has no area effect other than the Shadow Maul, which is still point blank. It's really hard to generate aggro. How much hit points? He still had some pretty good hit points left. That is one of the tougher missions to do as a Stalker, because you can shed aggro, but you can't generate it. Everybody that comes after you is doing an AoE, and Thunderhead insists on being next to me. So every time they shoot at me, even if I aggro them, they still hit him. Right? And they're not hitting me because I have defense. Right? Why is my defense so low? Do I have a minus on me? My defense should only be 27%. What happened? Oh, because stealth is off. Okay. It's 27% in combat. It's 33% with stealth on. Alright, let's call Lannister. Good job. We saved him, and now we're going to stop a 5th column raid. My guess is this will be our last mission. Yeah, this will be our final mission for this episode. We're going to need to get our damage inspirations back, but we should pick those up as we go. It's not worth... Damage is not worth going to the hospital to or somewhere else, or the base, to pick up. Luck is, because sometimes you just really need to floor those enemies so they can't keep hitting you. But damage, usually I do enough damage that I don't necessarily need those. Yellows you need if you're constantly missing. So this is all 5th column, this whole story arc. That's awesome. I don't know when that change was made. It might have been made previously. I'm going to have to go back and look at my Liberty Lass and see. I don't remember. Oh, I should hit the Mech Man first. I don't actually remember whether I saw it like this, whether it was like this when I did Liberty Lass last year. Another miss with Shadow Maul. Man, For some reason, that one seems to have the worst accuracy, even though it doesn't. I think it is that you notice it more because it eats up so much time with a miss. And you're just whiff, 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 whiff. So it feels like you're missing a lot more because you're whiffing so much. Okay, so these are dead ends. So this is just defeat everybody. Could be up to 5 levels. And of course, since I'm like, this is our last mission, we're just going to do this quickly. It's going to be a long mission, because the game hears me when I say stuff like that. Look at that. Enough. All the missing and missing and missing and missing. I think I've told this story before. AoEs caused so much trouble in my group when I was off tanking for them as my scrapper back in the day, particularly against Nemesis. Most Nemesis bullets are AoE, so you have these explosions coming at you, and I was trying to take point, and my supergroup mates were standing too close to me. So I'm standing there, you know, snipers attacking me, boom, boom, boom. Doesn't do anything to me because my character had AoE defense, right? And in those days, with 10% defense from the passive and 20% defense from the toggles, enhanced with 5 enhancement slots, right? In those days, oh, I shouldn't have hit the red. In those days, I had like 50% AoE defense, so they literally could not hit me. They were nearly floored, if not floored. Are there lieutenants? Lieutenants, I think, have a base 65% to hit, maybe, or maybe the snipers did back then. And I think I had about 45 defense or something at the time, somewhere around that. Maybe not 45. Maybe it was like 40. So they had like a 15% chance to hit me, or 60 or 20%. Not much, right? So they were missing, and so I was standing there using Warrior's Challenge to try and get them on me, and my supergroup mates were standing right like where this red guy is, like right behind me, and they were just getting knocked all over the place and face planted. And I finally said, "Guys, don't stand next to me." And they're like, "Well, you're not getting hit." And I said, "Yeah, because I have AoE defense." And they were like, "Oh." They didn't realize, A, that I had it, and B, how good it was. I'm marking that one so we know that that's the elevator we still have to use. Yeah, it took several face plants on their part for them to realize stay away from the scrapper, because the scrapper is drawing aggro and all the AoEs are going to hit the scrapper, and we're going to get the blowback, right? The collateral damage, this stuff, right? That's an AoE. Now, to me, it doesn't matter, no. Right? It does the same damage to me, whether it's AoE or single target, because I'm one person. Right? But as a mastermind, I constantly had to manage that stuff, because that kind of attack would hit all my minions. Right? And if you are in a group, it's going to hit everybody. So you have to make sure that you're not taunting or aggroing into your supergroup or your teammates, because if you do that, then your teammates are all going to take the damage, right? Now, the only reason I switched to this guy is because he's not moving. Doesn't really matter. You don't need all these blues. I want some red. You can definitely see how efficient this character is at taking out enemies. Super, super effective. Again, don't really even need to use build-up. Another miss. Another double miss. Look at all that. What is that? 4 out of 5 misses, or 5 out of 6? Ridiculous. But +2s do reduce your chance to hit. Not by that much, but they do reduce your chance to hit. Of course, I jumped too far. Lieutenant. Built up Assassin Strike should take you out. If I don't miss. There we go. There's another lieutenant. Can't build up, so we'll just do it this way. Miss, miss. Miss. Yeah, I'm sorry, but don't tell me that this game has a 50% average to hit. I do not believe it unless somebody has the stats. I'm convinced that if you did a long-term average, it would be way over, high enough over 55 that it would be statistically significant. Now maybe that's just confirmation bias, but I'd be willing to bet quite a bit of influence on it. What do we got here? No enhancements, just getting salvages and recipes. Wait, oh, this is, yeah, dead end. Okay, what do we have here? Gotta go south. And also this way. Good, more lieutenants. Are you kidding me? Another miss with that. So this is the only drawback of going up against +1 missions with the +2s in the missions. You are going to get a lot more misses. And that, leaving aside whether the algorithm tends to roll too high, you are going to get misses. Now it's interesting, if it does roll high, a really good computer question is why? Because it's just using a normal random number generator that you'd find in like C++ or whatever, which is the random number generator you just get in Unix, right? They're all just sort of calling the same algorithm. So the question is, why would it roll high? And I don't know the answer to that. Now you could say, well, maybe they programmed it to roll high. They say it's a 75% chance, but they programmed it to roll high. But that doesn't make any sense at all, because the whole reason they made it a 75% chance to hit is because players hate to miss. And so they started it, I believe, at 50-50, and for the very earliest feedback was we missed too much, right? They started at 50-50, and I think you did more damage, right? Both the enemies and the players had a 50% chance to hit. Probably because that's what it's like in Champions. 11 or less to hit is about a 56% chance on, because 10.5 is average on 3d6. It's close to, this is like 58%. But it's as close to 50-50 as the developers of Champions could get, because 10 or less would be a little below 50. So Champions is about 50% to hit. So they, I think, originally made City of Heroes 50% chance to hit, and players were frustrated because they felt like they were missing too much and they hate to miss, so they raised the base to hit of the players right out of the box to 75, but they left the enemies at 50, at least the minions. And so if it's white con, right, and then if it's yellow and red cons, obviously they have a higher chance to hit. And so um, it wouldn't make any sense for them to have given us a base 75% chance to hit and then program on purpose the algorithm to roll higher than a 50% average, because then you're just going to go back to the missing that everybody was complaining about, that the 75% base to hit was designed to fix, right? So I don't think they would have done that and not told us. That doesn't make sense. And if they had, by now, the Homecoming devs would have found it and probably corrected it. So I think this is some sort of a bug in the algorithm, but the question is why? Like, what's going on that's making it appear, to all appearances, as if this algorithm is rolling higher than 50% on average on, quote unquote, a die 100 roll? I don't know. And maybe it's not, right? Again, I don't have the data to test it, and I'm not going to take the time to test it, but I do think that if you went back and looked and you just took all of my 2 hit numbers and you added them up and divided by n, the number of the sample size, right? I would be very surprised if it came out to be exactly 50%. I think it would be the number that I roll would be more like in the upper 50s to low 60s. Could be wrong, but that's how it seems to me. And if that's true, then the question is why? Because I think obviously if the C or Unix or whatever algorithm tended to roll high, we would know it. I mean, I used it through the auspices of MATLAB, but MATLAB uses the base RNG of the computer, Linux or whatever. I've used it before, and I mean, we checked it. I've never noticed it to roll high or low. So I don't know. We don't need that, but we can keep those and ditch that. All right, I will make those recipes off screen. I think we can stop here. We're still on the Uberman story arc, and we're still looking for Uberman, but we will be trying to find him later, because I think an hour-ish is enough time for a single episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I have. And until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes, soloing the Stalker.